All right, it's Tuesday, January 14th. I just wanted to do an end of the day recap on Tesla since this is the stock I traded towards the end of yesterday. I bought call options. It gapped up. I was able to take some nice gains. And as you can see, we ended up with a bit of a two-up failure day that took out the high the previous day as expected, kind of hit its first target, and then, closed with a red bar. So I wanted to go over this because, number one, you could kind of see how multiple time frame analysis comes together with the way I like to view intraday structure as it unfolds from the open. It'll make it pretty clear as to why yesterday was a decent buy day in a couple of ways, and today it really never developed a buy day when you were at exhaustion risk that I kind of pointed out right at the open after it gapped up. I knew there was the potential of a pullback, and as it turns out, once you kind of broke below the first bar low, at that point you're trying to see if you get an immediate, maybe taking out this pre-market low right here and then getting a big red to green move to test those highs again. In this case, we went right through it, and it was just kind of a classic directional day to the downside. One push down, pause, second push down, and that's the way I always view structure. So yes, today kind of, never really, unfolded with momentum to the upside, and obviously closed lower. And yesterday, where you had the potential for a move back up, it did kind of break above the first bar high and then grind it up all day long. It closed strongly green. That's why I bought some call options here, just kind of anticipating you'd at least follow through a little bit today, which obviously it did on the gap up. So, if you look at the daily chart, when you see a big green bar, you kind of expect that high to be tested, which it did on the gap. And now when I see this red bar, I kind of anticipate the lows to be tested, although we do have a big economic, report in the morning, and that could create volatility one way or the other. So it's possible, you never know for sure. Since I'm still kind of anticipating eventually this weekly chart curling up, I did discuss how it's not really, there yet until we get a nice green bar that then has a two-up follow-through towards those highs. So we're still kind of grinding lower, but I'm kind of looking for buy opportunities in this little pullback to anticipate the weekly chart turning green. And that's kind of what the big picture context is at the moment. I thought there was a decent, opportunity yesterday, first day of the week, kind of holding above the midpoint of the prior day after a bit of a hammer bar on Friday with good opening price action to buy. And then also at the end of the day, just knowing it closed green, you would kind of expect it to follow through higher and to the next target or so, and that's what happened. So then today we get the failure, so you're kind of expecting a downward move, but since we're still above the open of the week, it is possible if we get a 2-down day and can't reach our target down here, that could be setting up another buy opportunity. If, like me, you're kind of nibbling away at the buy side, just looking at this orderly pullback that you kind of anticipate at some point is going to turn up. But until it turns up, you're going to grind lower, and who knows, maybe we get red by tomorrow and go, start heading to some lower targets on the weekly chart. So the 2 down tomorrow could be a sell opportunity to see if we can hit these targets. But if something should happen that, it doesn't reach it and then either reverses up intraday or maybe it gets a 2 down, 2 up towards the end of the week, I'd be biased back to the long side. So it's kind of, it's a little bit of cross currents here where the weekly trend still hasn't turned up, but I'm anticipating that just because of the look of the chart, not for any other reason. Once we get green and follow through, I'll get much more aggressive to the upside. So now you can go both ways and just kind of showing you that we're, anticipating this weekly chart turning up. Yesterday was the first day of the week, so you knew you had 4 more days to go and anything can happen. And as it turns out, we're getting a little bit of a pause day today, but it still remains to be seen what really develops for the rest of the week. So just thought I'd point that out. It's a way you kind of judge the big picture, the daily charts day to day, what might happen in the next day, and then more importantly, for me is how things open and looking at the way I look at structure relative to that first bar in the pre-market range. And yesterday we broke above that early, and today we at exhaustion risk we decided to break below it and then head to the pre-market lows, and then you didn't really get the bounce from there, so it became a kind of a 2-up failure looking day, which is not necessarily surprising just given that opening price action. So that's the way it all comes together. The multiple time frame analysis, the weekly chart, what's unfolding, how much time's developing as the week goes on, each day, the red and green bars, and then for me it's those the 15-minute chart and the pre-market range and how price decides to open in whether you're getting kind of a directional move or not early on. So anyway, we'll keep an eye on Tesla. Still biased to the upside, but now, you have to wait for price action to kind of unfold back that way. And at the moment, you're kind of anticipating a little bit lower just based on that red bar. And, we'll see what happens if that unfolds that way. So again, Tesla on watch, but just kind of highlighting the first 2 days of the week.